Hi guys, welcome back. It feels really weird.
Hello.
Okay, first of all, sorry that it's been so long. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have known that I had the baby. I'm no longer pregnant. And also, sorry if this background isn't like, oh, my drink. Sorry if this background isn't like, you know, ideal. I just am trying to, this is like the best lighting that I could kind of figure out. But yeah, we're just gonna have a sit down chat and I'm gonna tell you guys what happened with my labor and delivery, because it happened so fast that I did not really get to vlog at all. So I kind of think that doing this sit down like talk through version would be better than just trying to like piece together the 3 videos that I took. And yeah, let's just jump right in, I guess. I did take notes on my phone because I knew that with how fast everything went, I probably would have a really hard time remembering what happened. We're gonna start this story a couple weeks before he was born. It actually was in one of my vlogs, so if you've watched my previous videos, like one of the last very recent ones, I was having prodromal labor a lot. First episode I had was the day I turned 37 weeks, and it was like really, like I really thought that we were gonna have him, because it was every 2 minutes on the dot pretty much, and they were already lasting more than a minute long. I took a shower, they didn't go away. I sat down, they didn't go away. I cleaned the whole house because I thought I was going into labor, so I wanted to come home to a clean house. And they lasted throughout that whole time, and it wasn't until we put Henry to bed that they stopped. And so that was like about 2.5 to 3 hours that lasted. And I mentioned it to my OB and she said, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you're dilated just based off how it sounded. And I told her, I was like, so when I go into like actual labor, you told me to come into the hospital when my contractions are 5 minutes apart. So what if they start at 2 minutes apart? And she said, just come in right away. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So I had that in the back of my mind. And I wish I would have listened to that rule. But anyways, fast forward, I had that happen. I was just getting contractions pretty much all the time, but they were not intense. Like I could walk through them, I could talk through them, I could pretty much act like I wasn't getting contractions, so it was fine. And then on Friday, March 3rd, the day before I turned 38 weeks, I started to lose my mucus plug, which doesn't really mean anything. Some women lose it like the whole thing. They lose it all at once, and then they don't go into labor until 41 weeks. Some women lose it and go into labor the same day. So it's just kind of, it really doesn't mean anything. And I also had only lost like a part of it, and I slowly started to lose more like as the days went on. And that was kind of more reassuring to me than losing it all at once, because the reason you lose it is because your cervix is dilating. So as things are opening, the mucus plug kind of like makes its way out for some women. I never saw my mucus plug with Henry, my oldest son, so this was new to me. That kind of made me think like, all right, maybe I am actually like dilated. And so when I went to my OB appointment, I was already she said 2.5 to 3 centimeters dilated, but I wasn't effaced at all, and the baby was still high. So again, that could mean nothing, or it could mean like I was like, you know, things were moving. Fast forward to March 7th, which is a Tuesday, I was getting like pretty regular contractions, and in my mind I was like, stupid prodromal labor, here we go again. But they lasted all day, but again, they were not intense, like literally not even like barely period cramp level. I do have a high pain tolerance, But for me, they were nothing. So I was like, these are just like come on, these are just annoying at this point. I went to the chiropractor that night just to like get adjusted, just in case things were actually happening, then I would be nice and aligned when I went into labor. And they kind of just died off overnight like they always do. And so again, I was like, good old prodromal labor, this is awesome. I did have an OB appointment the following day, March 8th, also the day he was born. And it was at 3:30, so I was like, this is perfect. I'm excited to see if this prodromal labor is actually doing anything, like if I dilated anymore or what's going on. Starting around 9 a.m., I was getting like, again, the same barely there contractions, but these ones were every 5 minutes apart instead of 2 minutes apart. And I had a friend over, we hung out for a couple of hours. She left around like 11:30. And I was having these, what I didn't think were contractions the whole time she was here. So after she left, I started timing them. I started timing these contractions because they started to get a little bit more intense. Like I kind of had to like stop for a minute and like really, I didn't have to like breathe through them. I could still talk, but it was like, okay, this is getting a little bit more painful. And still, nothing rang in my head that I was in labor. Stupid me. And so I started timing contractions at 11:40, and they were 2 minutes apart, 4 minutes apart, 3 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart. They were just really sporadic, not really regular, just kind of all over the place, but still within 2 to 5 minutes apart, which again, ding, 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 maybe you should go to the hospital. Didn't think so. So I took a break from timing so I could read Henry some books, get him changed, put him down for a nap. And then Peter came home to grab something, and I made him some lunch. And I had a few contractions while he was here, and I was like, I think like maybe things are actually happening. I'm not really sure. We'll just see at my appointment today like what she says. And at this point it was 1 o'clock, and he left. He went back to work. He left at 1 o'clock. Okay, keep these timestamps in your mind because it's crazy. So he left for work at 1 o'clock, and I figured, well, if this is actually happening, I want to get ready. So I went in the bathroom, I started to get ready, I curled my hair, and I did film a little video, so I'll insert whatever I can here. Hi guys. This might be, dang it, please hold. Sorry. I think this might be the start of our labor vlog, which is just wild. I am, let's see, let me give you the exact. I am 38 weeks and 4 days. Henry is currently taking a nap. I have my OB appointment in 2 hours. So I'm hoping that she'll check me again and we'll see if I've dilated at all. I'm hoping if I go in and I'm still 2 centimeters, I'm probably gonna cry because especially after today, just like how painful these contractions have been and how many of them I've gotten, I legit think I would cry if I had been going through this since yesterday morning. That would just be dumb. But I just kind of wanted to start things up. I'm just gonna curl my hair just in case. I really like wish I was tired right now so I could take a nap because I feel like I could use the extra sleep in case things do happen tonight. So I might just like lay down after I curl my hair and put the lashes on and just at least rest. Yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go and I will see you guys after my OB appointment. And it's really funny to me because I literally had a baby less than 2 hours after this video, after I filmed that video. While I was filming that video, I went from having contractions every 4 minutes to not having one for 12 minutes, then 8 minutes. And then once I stopped recording that video, they went back to coming every 5 minutes. I finished curling my hair, I put my lashes on, and then pretty much immediately after that, it was like 1:30. Let's see what time it was. At 1:40, things really picked up. Like, my contractions went from probably like a 2 out of 10 to like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Not gradual, it was just like one contraction was a 2, the next one was a 7. And I started to panic a little bit. And so I called Peter. I wrote actual timestamps for these. So I called Peter at 1:53 and I said, hey, you need to come home. These contractions are getting intense. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if we should even wait for my OB appointment, which was at 3:30. I think we should just go to the OB emergency department, aka triage, and get checked out. And he said, okay, sounds good. I'll start heading your way. And then at 1:56, I called my mom at work. I said, hey, it's time. I need you guys to come. And thank goodness she heard some sort of urgency in my voice, because you'll see. Then at 2:02, I had the audacity. This actually makes me laugh. At 2:02, I called my OB office and I said, hey, I'm getting contractions every 2 minutes. They're really intense. I was just wondering if I should wait till my appointment or if I should just go to triage. And they're like, yeah, you definitely should hurry up and go to the OB emergency department. I said, okay, hung up the phone. At 2:06, I texted Peter and I said, hurry. And I don't really know why. Like, in the moment, I didn't know why I sent him that, but I do know now why. Peter told me that he thought he had more time, so he was gonna go like do a couple, like he was gonna go pick up another coworker so that way he could drop Peter off at the house instead of like leaving the car here. And then he said when I sent him that hurry text, he decided to just come home, which is a good thing that he did, because I would have had the baby in the car if he didn't come straight home. So when I texted Peter that at 2:06, almost immediately after that, I just started screaming in the bathroom because the contractions were hurting so bad. I now know that I was going through transition in my bathroom by myself at home. No one was home besides Henry. He was taking a nap. And when I say I was screaming, I was like at the top of my lungs, like screaming because it hurt so bad. And I was sitting on the toilet, which should have been another sign. I thought to myself, I have to poop. Again, ding, 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 you dummy, you're having a baby. And I started sweating, I got nauseous, I was really close to throwing up. And it was at that moment when I like almost threw up, where I was like, holy crap, I'm in transition. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the hospital. And so I started like low-key panicking. And then Peter got home at 2:16 p.m. He comes in the bathroom. He was on the phone with someone because, keep in mind, the last time he saw me, which was a little over an hour before this, I was like making him a quesadilla, laughing, we were having a good time. He comes in the bathroom and I am like sitting sideways on the toilet, gripping onto everything, sweating, panting, screaming, and he's like, okay, I'll call you back, buddy. And he said, what do I do? What's going on? I was like, get the suitcase in the car. We need to go now. And he's like, okay. And he runs out and he gets the suitcase in the car. He comes back in the bathroom and I said, the car seat, we need the car seat. And he said, I'll get the car seat. So he leaves again, and then in that moment, I reached down because I was like starting to feel the urge to push. At first I thought I had to poop, but then I was like, I don't think I have to poop, I think I have to push. So I put my hand down there and I felt the baby's head. And so I called for Peter because in that moment, I was like, I don't think we have time to make it to the hospital. I was gonna tell him to just call 911 and we were gonna have the baby in the house. Then I decided, you know what? I can hold this together for the 10-15 minute car ride to the hospital. So I get my crap together, I pull my pants up, and I grab a pair of socks. I start to walk out, and Peter comes back into the bedroom, and he said, okay, you ready to go? And I said, I need to say goodbye to Henry. And he's like, he's napping. I said, I don't care, I need to say goodbye to Henry. So he goes in the room, he wakes Henry up, and he's like, okay, Bubby, we're gonna go to the doctor, and we're gonna come back tomorrow with your baby brother. And he was like, Henry was very confused and just like sad, like didn't know what to do. And so I gave him a kiss, and I wanted to hurry because when I had a contraction, the only thing I could do to fight the urge to push was to scream. Scream, yell, whatever noise I could make. And so I didn't want to like have to do that in front of Henry, so I gave him a kiss really fast. And I walked out. My parents were here, praise God. I have my hair in this nasty bun. I'm sweating, and my mom, I don't know if they tried to talk to me or what, but I was out of it. And I walked out the door. My dad tried to help me. I was like, I got it. And I felt like a little pop in my stomach. So I was like, great, my water's about to break. So I told my dad, tell Peter to grab a towel. So he comes inside, grabs a towel, puts it down on the seat, and then we get in the car and Peter starts driving. We left the house at 2:20, and at 2:25 my water bursted in the car. Like, it was crazy. Thank goodness I thought to grab the towel, because I think I would have wanted to buy a new seat for my car. And I did film something. I haven't rewatched the video, so I don't know what it is. But I did film in the car, so I'll put that here. Things changed really fast. It's 2:28. My water just broke like, I don't know, 5 minutes ago. But pretty much like 2 minutes after I recorded that video, my contractions got really bad, and I called Peter.
Yo, let me call you back. Alright, bye.
I called Peter, told him that he needed to come home, that I wasn't even going to be able to make it to my OB appointment. And I literally, it was bad, guys. I was like screaming in the bathroom, can barely like work through the contractions. Thankfully he got home quick. My parents came over pretty fast, and now we're on our way. And the only thing I remember from that is yelling. Peter kept asking me if we should call the doctor, and I told him, what is that gonna do? Take me to the hospital. And then we pull up to the hospital at 2:35. Peter takes me to the emergency room doors. He pulls into the emergency room like roundabout thing. And he goes inside, and there's never usually a nurse there or anything. It's usually just like the security guard. But by God's grace, there was a nurse just walking by, and he's like, I need a wheelchair. My wife is like in labor. I need to take her up. So she runs out with the wheelchair. She sees me. She's like, how many weeks are you? And I said, 38. She said, what number kid is this? And I said, 2. She said, we have to hurry. And I'm like, I'm having a contraction, I need a minute. So she's like, I'm gonna go get backup. So she goes inside, comes out with another nurse. She asks me the same questions. And I finally am able to get in the car, and Peter's like, I'm gonna go park the car, I'll meet you up there. And the nurses are like, they start off walking, and then I start like moaning, and they walk a little bit faster, and then I start yelling, and they start running. So it's like straight out of a movie. They're pushing me in the wheelchair, I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, and my water broke, so my pants are soaking wet. And we get to the elevator, there's a guy in there, poor guy. The nurse is like, I'm sorry, hold the elevator. And I'm like yelling in the elevator, and I hope he's okay, not traumatized. Then we get to the labor and delivery floor, and they push me up to the window, they start asking me a bunch of questions, and they try to take me back to a triage room. So they wheel me back, and they start to push me into the room, and they tell me to stand up, and there was a nurse in there like, what are you doing? Take her to a delivery room. She's about to have this baby. So they tell me to sit back down. I was like half out of the wheelchair, so I just kind of like sat down, because keep in mind, the baby's head was literally like about to come out, so I couldn't sit straight. I was sitting sideways. And so they run me back to a delivery room, and I rip my pants off, kick my shoes off, and I sit in the bed, and the one nurse is like trying to put an IV in my arm. She's telling me not to move, and then they call the doctor in. So by the time we got to the room, it was like 2:40, so only like 5 minutes had passed, and we're waiting for the doctor to come in, and he asks if he has time to change his shoes, and the nurse was like, no, you don't have time. He's like, are you sure? They're just right in the other room. She's like, you don't have time. And while he's getting his stuff on, there's like a male nurse, and he said, I'm just gonna check you really quick. And for some reason in my mind, I was like, maybe I'm at like a 7. I don't know. I was so in disbelief that I was like about to have this baby. And he put his hand in there for like half a second, and he said, she is complete, and she is at a +2.5. When you're complete, that means you're 10 centimeters. You have to be 10 centimeters to start pushing, and you have to be at a +3 station. Well, not have to be, but +3 station is when your baby is like literally like coming out, and I was at +2.5. And so he's like, yeah, she's ready. And so they ask if they can take my shirt off, and I didn't respond to her, and she said, sweetie, you need to take your shirt off or else I'm gonna cut it. And in my mind, I'm like, cut the effing shirt off, I do not care. But Peter was like, okay. He helped me take my shirt off, and the doctor was finally ready, and he was like, okay, it's time to push. And instead of pushing, I just kept screaming, because that's what I was like used to doing. And he looked at me, he said, no noise, just push. And so I started pushing, and then I felt the ring of fire, and I said, I don't want to do this. I actually changed my mind. Take me back home. And then I stopped pushing, and I said, ow, ow, ow. And he said, no noise, just push. And so I pushed again. This was the second push, and his head came out, and then I just kept pushing, and the doctor was like, look down, look down. And he said, look down and grab your baby. And I was like, what? You want me to do what? But I did. I looked down, I put my arms down, and I grabbed my baby out of me. And it was insane, and it was so emotional. And Peter started recording like right after. So I'll put whatever I can in here.
Turn him so I can see your face here.
Well done.
It's connected.
You did it. You did it. Good job. You did
Good
it.
job, guys.
You did it, Al.
I know. Hi, little one.
You did it.
I know. I'm just gonna keep it in here, Mama. We're a boy, officially.
Congratulations, Mama.
Good job, guys. Hi. Does he have a name?
Not yet.
Not yet. Baby boy it is.
Clamp here, okay?
Where at?
Right on the clamp. Well done, sir.
Yeah, so he was born at 2:47. We got to the hospital, we pulled into the emergency room at 2:35, and he was born 12 minutes later. After 2 pushes, and I got to pull him out. I got to deliver him myself. It was really crazy, really awesome. And I did want an unmedicated birth, so I got what I wanted, but I did not want it to go that fast. I've had a couple people tell me that I was like lucky to have such a fast labor, but I honestly, I had and am still having a hard time processing everything because it happened so fast. And also I hemorrhaged afterwards, and that was probably like a 45-minute ordeal of them like trying to get it to stop, and like the doctor had his hand literally inside of me scraping out blood clots, trying to like figure out where the bleeding was coming from. Like it was just a lot that happened afterwards. The recovery time afterwards, like them trying to get the bleeding to stop, lasted longer than my labor did. So it was like, I don't know, it was just a lot like really hard to process again because it happened so fast. Peter got home at 2:16 and the baby was born 30 minutes later. So like he didn't get to see like everything that I went through in the bathroom by myself. And that part is also hard because I had no support. Just like the whole thing is just weird, and I still have not fully processed it. I don't know like what I don't know. So yeah, that was that. It was really crazy. Thankfully, we are not planning on having a 3rd baby, and I think that even if I was like on the fence of wanting one, that experience was enough for me to not have another one, because I would genuinely be scared, anxious towards the end of my pregnancy, because my labor, like I was having contractions like all day before. I was having contractions every day for like 2 weeks, but I wouldn't say that my labor lasted 2 weeks long. My first like actual painful contraction was at like 1:30, and he was born at 2:47. So my active labor was an hour long, and we barely made it to hospital. If I was at the hospital, it wouldn't have been an hour long because I was fighting the urge to push like by the time Peter got home. So if we were already at the hospital, he probably would have been born at like 2:20 or something. I did film a little bit while we were in the hospital. I filmed Henry meeting him for the first time. I vlogged a tiny little bit, so I'll just put that in a separate video. You guys will have to wait to see that next week or whenever I get these videos out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh, I guess you guys might want to see the baby, I suppose. This is Mr. Theodore Peter Hallisey, the fastest little blessing in our life. His name means a gift from God. I picked his name this time. Peter picked Henry's name, and I didn't pick it because of the meaning. That meaning is just like a little extra. Like it kind of like sealed the deal for me when I heard what the name meant, what it meant. Come on. So yeah, he was 7 pounds 1 ounce, I think. I actually can't remember anymore. And he was 20.5 inches long. And is that all people wonder about? I think that's it. That is that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really sorry I didn't get to film as much in the hospital. I literally did not have time. If you guys have any questions, or if you are wondering something about the baby or myself, or how something that happened in delivery, feel free to comment down below. I usually reply to every comment, like any question. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go relax while both of the boys are still sleeping, and I will see you guys when I see you.